Ooh, look at this bright, shiny little thing. Wait, there's an inscription here. Jagabaloo, Jagabaloo. Oh! Ah.
Figurines of Wondrous Power. We all know them. We've all wanted at least one. And for many of us, it all started when that dark elf discovered that small onyx panther, right? Well, maybe so, but that's not how it worked for me. For me, it did involve a ranger, but it was my first ranger character, and it was him finding his very first figurine of wondrous power, his only figurine of wondrous power, the Serpentine Owl. Now, I remember I was pretty young at the time in my early teens, and I hadn't really discovered the joy of reading yet. So when I did, and I discovered the Icewind Dale trilogy and the Dark Elf trilogy and all of those fantastic books by R.A. Salvatore, it was really cool to see a reflection of the character I was already playing kind of come alive in the pages of a book. Now, obviously not exactly. I wasn't playing a Dark Elf, I was playing a Half Elf, and the Serpentine Owl is not an Onyx Panther, but you get the gist. So today, I figured we would talk about Figurines of Wondrous Power, different ways that they can be used in your game, and introduce some new Figurines of Wondrous Power, including some minor versions that even first level characters can enjoy. Take a look in the description of this video for a link to a free resource that I hope you'll like and find a use for. So first things first, let's talk about the old Figurines of Wondrous Power in the Dungeon Master Guide that I'm sure you're all already familiar with. We have the bronze griffin and the golden lions that just have the cool factor of creating an actual griffin or a pair of lions. I mean, who doesn't want that? But these are figurines I would consider the more basic of the Figurines of Wondrous Power, simply because their only ability is turning into these creatures or animals. And while that's super cool and awesome to have around and great to have a fighting companion by your side, some of the smaller figurines actually are a bit more interesting. The Ebb and Fly, for instance, its primary use is to be a mount, a flying mount, but it's a fly. So while this might kind of fall into the same category as the Bronze Griffin and the Golden Lions, I move it up just a notch because it's a fly. And who doesn't want to be seen buzzing into a royal ceremony or charging to face a dragon midair on the back of a friggin' horsefly? The Marble Elephant, again, kind of in the same ballpark, but you can keep this one up for 24 hours. Granted, you can only use it once per week, but 24 hours, having an elephant handy, you can get quite a lot done, depending on what you're doing. Also, the sheer bulk of this creature lends itself to more creative thinking, more creative uses, such as a moving wall or a barricade. Imagine your party is being chased through a winding gorge. A band of orcs are in hot pursuit. You can feel the hot breath of their wargs nipping at your heels. You spur your horses on and gain just enough ground to drop a tiny figurine and utter a command word. Suddenly, a bulbous elephant appears between you and the band of orcs. Wargs bounce off of its gray flesh as you and your party escape. You find a trail just ahead that leads you atop the gorge where you and your group can pick off the orcs one by one. Wondrous power, indeed. The Onyx Dog makes an exceptional guardian, being as that it's an intelligent creature, it can speak, it has dark vision, and can see invisible creatures and objects. The downside, of course, is that it only lasts for 6 hours, and this is one of those figurines that can only be used once every 7 days. The Silver Raven, on the other hand, can be used every 2 days. It lasts for 12 hours, but it has no combat abilities. Its only real ability is to fly and deliver messages, but that can come in extremely handy in certain circumstances. The Serpentine Owl is, of course, my favorite. I'm biased, but it's gotten a bit of a nerf in 5th edition, as it can only turn into a giant owl for 8 hours. However, it can still be used once every 2 days, which is great, and it can still communicate telepathically with the user, which is very handy for scouting purposes. However, in 2nd edition, the Serpentine Owl was much better. It could become a normal-sized horned owl, or a giant-sized horned owl for 8 hours, either or. Additionally, it moved with 95% silence, had infravision 90 feet, which is translate into dark vision for 5th edition. Would probably also translate into advantage on stealth checks for 5th edition. But beyond that, above ground, it could see as if it was normal light everywhere and could see twice as well as humans, and creatures trying to use stealth against it had their chances reduced by 50%, which would likely translate to disadvantage in 5th edition for anyone using stealth against it. This was a much, much better scout than it is now, but the 5th edition Serpentine Owl is still a great companion to have. The Obsidian Steed is also a very interesting figurine of wondrous power, and it also has that cool factor of the Golden Lions, maybe even a step higher, as it becomes a nightmare for up to 24 hours, but can only be used once every 5 days. The problem with this is if you are a good aligned character, there's a 10% chance each time you use it that it will completely ignore your orders and immediately take you straight to Hades, where it is instantly transformed back into a statuette. Hopefully, you have some good spells, some great items, or some powerful friends. The last of the figurines from the Dungeon Master's Guide is the Ivory Goats, which typically come in sets of 3. 1 goat is for traveling, 1 goat is for being really big, and the 3rd goat is for absolute carnage. The Goat of Terror's horns become magical items that you can use, one a lance, one a longsword, and it radiates an aura of fear within 30 feet. All 3 goats have a very long recharge rate, with 7 days, 30 days, and 15 days respectively before you can use them again. Every figurine in the DMG serves its own purpose. They're all pretty cool, they'd be great to find as a player, but I would like to now introduce you to some custom figurines that I've created on my own to share with you. Once again, there's a link in the description where you can download this free resource and use these figurines in your game. First, I have a trio of minor magical figurines that I like to call figurines of remarkable effect. They're quite the downgrade from Figurines of Wondrous Power, but I wanted to create something that lower level characters could find and enjoy. These include the Teak Snugglebug that you can use during a short rest to gain an additional hit die for healing, the Birch Finch, which can fly high above and locate resources for survival, and the Walnut Turtle, which is quite the personality and can become a shield that you can use and has another nifty ability you might want to check out. The 3 figurines of wondrous power that you'll find in the document below are the Amber Fox, which was designed to be the ultimate scout that can report back to its user telepathically, the Aquamarine Dolphin, which can swim through air as well as it can water, and when you go underwater, it provides an extra perk to allies close by. And thirdly, the Ivory Unicorn is another figurine with that cool factor that's nice to have around. Check it out below. I encourage you to look around for other sources of custom figurines of wondrous power. The 2nd edition Encyclopedia Magica, Volume 2, had a nice little list of a few extra figurines that can come in pretty handy. And it also has a bit of strange figurines in there as well, so you might want to check that out if you can find a way to get a hold of a copy. But as always, I also encourage everyone to use your imagination and homebrew your own magical items, homebrew your own spells. Make this game yours. I plan to be creating a Patreon soon where I'll be offering more of these custom magical items, new creatures, new locations, possibly short adventures, curses, all kinds of extra material that you'll be able to use in your game, completely aside from all of the free stuff I offer in these videos. If you're interested in something like that, please keep your eye out because it'll be popping up very soon. Also, while you're here, if you found this video to be valuable and helpful to you, please hit that like button. That really helps the algorithm, helps us push this video out there. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to stick around and check out more custom creations and have more chats about our favorite gaming experiences. Thank you for being here. Keep on rolling them straight, and may the dice forever roll in your favor.